Go ahead.
Mhm. What's wrong with my slides? They're locked. Hang on. Something's wrong here. Okay. Can you see that slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Excellent. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Platson. I'm the Chief Business Officer of Serva Radio Farm. And this is the first presentation to a group. We are starting to raise $15 million to spin out Serva Radio Farm from Serva Energy. Serva Energy has been a nuclear fuels company, but we have technology that impacts enormously the radioisotope business. Before I tell you about the medical part and the nuclear part, let me just tell you about the exciting business situation. There's a radioisotope that is extremely rare, extremely effective, and extremely expensive. The Department of Energy makes just a tiny amount of it to supply researchers and pharma companies that are running trials, and they charge $20 million a curie. A curie can treat a few hundred to 1,000 patients. There's a need, a desperate need for much larger quantities, much higher quality, so that these companies can proceed with their development and turn these into the blockbuster drugs and the cancer therapies that they can be. If you had a company that had invented a way to do this in a capital light, ready for market, scalable way, you would spin this out. And that's what we're doing. Targeted radiotherapy is one of the most important trends in oncology, especially if you're trying to treat metastasized cancers. Here you see a picture of a famous German patient with massively metastasized prostate cancer. And after 4 treatments with actinium-225 labeled on an antibody, the metastasized cancers have essentially disappeared. This is this is treatment that's completely unavailable any other way. How this works, if you make an antibody or a ligand that can identify the cancer cells, and then you hook it to a nuclear payload, for example, actinium, then it drags that payload to the cancer, and then it binds to the cancer. And as the isotope decays, it emits, depending on the molecule, alpha, beta, or gamma particles. And the emission of particularly alpha particles causes DNA double-strand breaks and kills cancer cells, and only travels a tiny distance. You can't get an alpha particle to go through a piece of paper. The travel distance is just basically to the next cell. So very localized kill of cancer cells with almost no peripheral damage. There's several approved radiopharmaceuticals, um, blockbusters like Lutathera, Xofigo, use beta emitters, um, and others use radium. Xofigo, for example, uses radium. And these are, again, blockbuster drugs, very effective. What we've done using our historic knowledge of working with radiation and nuclear reactors, is find a way to make this in nuclear reactors. Now, the way the Department of Energy makes it, which turns out to be very expensive, is with linear accelerators, cyclotrons, rotatrons, things where if you want to do this, you have to set up tens or hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment, and the lead times are very long. By doing it it turns out there's research reactors at many universities, and you can rent time on them for thousands of dollars a day and run a batch of material through the radiation in the reactor and produce the isotopes you want. In this case, we're focusing on actinium-225. Take it out of the reactor, a little bit of purification and separation, and you've got a very valuable drug ingredient that then gets sold to pharma companies, CDMOs, and researchers at the market price of $20 million a curie. Right now, only a few curies are available on the market, but we're setting up to be able to make a half a curie to a curie a week. And while we'll make small quantities as we ramp up this year, within the next couple of years, we can be at half a curie to a curie a week. That can be hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue and a transformation for the companies that need a reliable supply in order to bother investing in clinical trials and making blockbuster drugs. Here you see this is built up from clinical trial data, the kinds of drugs, the kinds of cancers that are addressable with actinium. And today it's quite small, but the number of trials, the number of cancers, the number of companies working on this is quite large and growing very fast. We are not trying to be a cancer company. We're not trying to go through clinical trials. We're not trying to enroll patients. We are a supply chain partner. We make GMP quality isotope and we sell it to everybody that needs it. And they can be working on a wide range of critical problems. In turn, we don't have to build a reactor either. We can work with, as you see, many of these universities have research reactors, and some of them allocate some time and some space for processing radioisotopes. In turn, we don't have to do all the drug development work. We have contract drug manufacturers that are expert in dealing with active radiopharmaceutical products, and they can be intermediaries for us to reach the market. So this is a supply chain business that has tremendous opportunity. There's a lot of money moving around in the radiopharmaceutical business. You can see on the left, there's a lot of money going into reactors and equipment that can do nuclear medicine. There's a fair amount of money going into the CDMO, the radio CDMO world, as these companies scale up for this kind of targeted therapy. And there's a number of now unicorn level companies that have raised money, and the beginnings of acquisitions by big pharma are starting to happen. You saw that Lilly bought Point, and we're seeing that kind of activity in this space. We have the right team to spin this out. I'm a longtime Silicon Valley CEO and venture capitalist. Our founder and CEO is the inventor of this nuclear technology and remarkable in his capabilities of working with radioisotopes and reactors around the world. Dr. Jones is a partnering and market expert. And we have three key advisors. Dr. Horns from Mayo Clinic, Sumit Verma built Curium and Iovance, and Ralph's an amazing guy who ran the biggest isotope reactor in the world, Murr in Missouri, for the last couple of decades. So we have the medical knowledge, we have the nuclear knowledge, and we have the relationships like Mayo, and we're ready to go.
Okay, thanks very much, Mark. We're a little over time here, but I appreciate it. And I'm sure people can find you on your website. Is that right?
Please do.
All righty.